taught you, please, who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man?
But he's just not a teacher. Black people now want to be taught. They don't want to be just spoken to. They want to learn something now. They want to clear the smoke.
So what is his purpose?
You have to ask him that. You can't ask me what his minister of fire conference. You have to go to him and ask him that.
In honor of Black History Month, we are learning about historically Black colleges and universities, also known as HBCUs.
HBCUs played a critical role in establishing educational needs for Black Americans. Sarah Costa has more.
Prior to the Civil War, there was not a structured higher education system for Black students. Public policy and certain provisions prohibited the education of Blacks in various parts of the nation, which is why historically Black colleges and universities were so important. The Institute for Colored Youth, the first higher education institution for Blacks, was founded in Cheney, Pennsylvania in 1837, making it the first historically Black college and university. It was followed by two other Black institutions, Lincoln University in Pennsylvania in 1854 and Wilberforce University in Ohio in 1856. According to the U.S. Department of Education, although these were called universities or institutions from their founding, a major part of their mission in the early years was to provide elementary and secondary schooling for students who had not had previous education. It was not until the early 1900s that HBCUs began to offer courses and programs at the post-secondary level. HBCUs have played an historical role in enhancing equal educational opportunity for all students. By 1953, more than 32,000 students were enrolled in well-known HBCUs like Fisk University, Hampton Institute, Howard University, and Morehouse College. Today, there are 107 HBCUs in the U.S. There are 9 HBCUs in Texas, and St. Philip's College is the only HBCU in San Antonio.
Peace, fam. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Hey, listen, trying to make it a habit to at least start off the beginning of the show, what we're going to be dealing with, or the topic with one of these dope videos. So here we go, man. Pen and pad game. Let's go ahead, get the notes out. Y'all already know, man, this is not for entertainment purposes. It's for education purposes only. Don't believe a word I'm about to say. Go do your own research. Take some notes. We're going to make some T-charts today, too. My T-chart people out there. Make some T-charts. And I think T-charts are pretty cool because now you have a way of looking up what you just heard. Just sitting around listening to somebody babble for a fucking hour and a half, 2 hours about anything, whatever, and you just soaking that shit up. It's worse than watching cartoons, man. Take notes. Write down what they're saying and go back and take a look at it. I want to shout this brother out. I forgot his name. He caught me and Crum on TikTok. And this brother actually had notes. There's a couple people. It's a sister that sent me a whole. She took a photo of her book. She actually had like notes from 2-3 years ago. And I'm like, make sure y'all try to get some publication. Give me some credit for some of that stuff. But anyway, the point is, man, let's take some notes. We're talking about the origin of Black colleges in the beginning, not what they've become now. Like some like to say the Divine Nine, and which are the sorors and fraternities of these elites, Boule society, because there was two different types of Negroes supposedly in that particular time. So yeah, let's deal with it. Before I get going, I got a special guest in the building. Live one time from the M.O.I studio. The good brother Crum is down here in Atlanta, man. And when I say his brother has been on Waka Flocka Flame since he touched down. He ain't sleep yet. I don't know. He's in the same spot. I saw him yesterday. Brother is down here working, man. We working. For those of you who got tickets to come check us out Saturday in person, and for those who catch us on the live stream, we got to talk about how we doing that as well. We got to lay that out.
Zoom?
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't have links or information yet, blow Crum inbox up, not mine, and have him get you the information for Saturday. We just confirmed. I'm not going to tell you who, but we just confirmed 1, 2, 3 special guests will be in the building this Saturday, right here. And when I tell you, boy, for those who got tickets in person, it's going to be a treat, man. It's going to be a treat. So without further ado, Crum, you got anything you want to add? Talk to the people?
Family. The minister know what he doing. I'm going to say that. The minister know what he doing. He's a professional at this. He moonlights. This is moonlighting, family. It's not his day job. His day job. He's a professional chef. So, you know, he's hosted events that even had presidents. I'm not talking about the line cook at IHOP, family. Put some respect on his name. So I was a little bit bashful. I didn't want to invite too many people. And then I said, bring them. The minister said, bring them. I said, it's okay. He said, yep. Okay, too. I said, okay. So the minister has invited some major guests. We got 10 people coming. We got 3 major guests. Of course, him and I. And there's still a little bit of it's not a lot, family. It's not a lot of space. Whoever gets the last ticket, this is Willy Wonka. Get that last golden ticket. I yield.
Hey, listen, man. And really, that's what it's gonna be like, the Willy Wonka. Yeah. If I had a golden ticket. Hey, listen, man. Let's dive into the measure. Shouts out to TikTok. TikTok about to start jumping over here like Jordan in a second. Shouts out to TikTok. And I had Crum on this whole thing like, nah, we're going live everywhere. Right. Everywhere. We're going live everywhere. So the historical origins of HBCUs. The reason I have taken a liking to this particular subject because I think it's amazing. You know, I was in Virginia, Hampton, Virginia. HU, they say it's not the real HU. You know, they say that Howard University is the first HU. Okay. Nevertheless, and I got extremely curious about how these HBCUs came about. So, of course, I worked at Norfolk State University. I was a chef over there. I also was a chef at Hampton University. So I had a chance to be on both of those historical campuses. Shout out to Norfolk State, behold, the green and gold. Okay. I just spent a whole lot of time at Howard. However, I got friends of mine who went to Howard. So you could say that I was indirectly connected to the HBCU culture. And I always found it strange that I would sometimes question the students. And I would ask the students random Black history trivia questions. And they seem to never know what the fuck I was talking about. So that struck me as odd, first of all. That struck me as really odd that we're here at an HBCU campus and nobody has any idea what the hell I'm asking about. Just real, easy peasy standard questions. Give me a second. I'm trying to get Chrome TikTok together.
Sorry, family. He's trying to get my TikTok
there
together.
We go.
All right, there we go.
There we go.
Oh my God! Why did
What was that?
That is a picture of Farrakhan's daddy.
Okay, that's cool. Cause I got Horace Mann on my screen.
Farrakhan daddy, family. I'm not saying he a YT man. I'm not saying Farrakhan daddy is a YT man, but Farrakhan daddy looked like a YT man.
He do. So for everybody on TikTok, what's up, TikTok? What's going on, y'all? Tap the screen one time. Tap the screen one time. Bam, 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 bam. Give some love. This love going. Bam, bam. Appreciate y'all, man. On TikTok. For everybody over here on YouTube and Facebook. Me and Crom trying to do this TikTok marathon for the week.
Yeah.
This is actively day 2 TikTok marathon. We'll be going live. So when we end the live here,
we'll be on TikTok.
We'll still be streaming. Like TikTok is streaming right now. TikTok gonna stay streaming the whole time. And once we end the live here on Facebook and YouTube, we still gonna be on TikTok. So come find us on TikTok. Yeah. Find Crom TV. Find the Minister of Information. There's several characters out there though. Make sure you find the right page. You'll know the page when you see the page. My page. You'll know my page. You can't miss it.
The Minister of Information.
Correct. All right. So let's dive. Let's dive. What I found interesting was we've always heard that supposed black folk could not read or write. This story runs parallel to the story of the Prophet Muhammad. It said he was unlearned.
Right.
I always figured if Gabriel, as is told in Islam, as the angel Gabriel showed up to the Prophet Muhammad, and Gabriel comes out of the Hebrew or Torah or Old Testament, then my opinion was, well, maybe Gabriel brought him the manuscripts written in Hebrew, and the prophet only reads Arabic.
Can I add value to that?
Please.
So we know that Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Wa alayhi salam. Yeah.
He brought monotheism. If we zoom out and kind of make it as simple as possible, he brought a monotheistic belief system. So now this is the same thing as Moses bringing a monotheistic belief system. So if we go back, the first one to bring a monotheistic belief system is going to be Akhenaten. And we know Akhenaten got kicked out of Egypt, just like Moses got kicked out of Egypt. Now, they say Moses ran away, but hey, whoever tells the story, tell it the way they want. So now when Akhenaten get kicked out of Egypt, he goes over into the Sinai desert, over to a mountain, because, gods love to go to mountains for whatever reason. And Iran, they got their military base inside of a mountain. And they got that from America because we got a military inside of the Colorado mountain.
That's correct.
So now you got Akhenaten. He goes to this mountain, and there's a Semite group in this mountain. And the thing is, the problem was Akhenaten couldn't read those Semitic languages. So now you're going to see this thing where this Ekna read. Well, I can't read. Oh, he's illiterate. No, he's not illiterate. I can speak English, bro. I just can't speak Spanish.
Wow. So you would never recognize the language. You've never seen it before, right? Oh,
Muhammad is illiterate. He didn't recognize the language if he didn't see it before. Give him a break, family. Context is everything.
So now, let's talk about the Negro Act of 1740. Now we got some context to it, to the background of literacy and how important it is to read and write. Right. That's the whole point. It says the Negro Act of 1740. The Negro Act of 1740 in South Carolina was a comprehensive law that codified the institutions of slavery and reinforced white supremacy. It prohibited enslaved Africans from growing their own food, learning to read, move freely, assemble in groups, and earn money. The act also authorized enslavers to punish, even kill enslaved, unalive, F7, unalive enslaved people for being rebellious. So now we have an act of 1740 that says it's illegal to teach enslaved Africans to read. That's 1740. We're not even a nation yet, family. We're not even a nation yet. Later we're going to read how South Carolina codified these laws. South Carolina now codifies this, right? Watch this. South Carolina codifies illiteracy laws. It starts with the Negro Act, 1740. South Carolina comes along with the black codes, which means when I say codified, they black code them. These are the anti-literacy laws in the United States.
Gotcha.
Anti-literacy laws in many, can't say the S word on TikTok. I can say enslaved states before, during American Civil War, affected enslaved and freedmen. In some cases, all people of color. Now, when they say all people of color, family, they're talking about the Indians, the Native Americans, they so-called. All people of color suffer from not learning how to read. They were forbade on how to read and write. It says some laws arose from concern that literacy would give the enslaved could forge documents and require to escape to free states. They're more worried about if they learn how to read, they can sign their own freedom papers, their own contracts. If they learn how to read, because these were contractual basis. They were out for labored anyway. These are contract laborers. If they learn to read, they're going to want to start to read their contract or their freedom papers. See, a freedom paper or freedom document was letting whoever stopped you know that you have completed the course. You are no longer in bondage or servitude. Your bond has been satisfied. Okay? Now, this is anti-literacy. Anti-literacy laws arose from the fear of insurrection, particularly around the time of abolitionists. David Walker's 1829 publication, The Appeal to the Colored Citizens of the World, which openly advocated for a rebellion in Nat Turner's rebellion in 1831. Here's my question to the chat. Was Nat Turner rebellion the first supposed slave insurrection? Was the Nat Turner rebellion the first? If you think it was the first, press 111. Say yes, Nat Turner rebellion was the first slave rebellion or African whatever rebellion. It was. If you think not, put 222. Again, if you think the 1831 Nat Turner rebellion was the first one, 111. If you disagree with that, press 222. Now, the United States is the only country known for having anti-literacy laws. The United States is the only country that's known for having these types of laws. There's no other country that has had the type of laws that keep people from learning how to read or understand or become literate, which a lot of our children suffer from now. Our so-called black children suffer from now. I think in California, the literacy rate is super low. They measure the literacy rate by these stated board tests, administrative tests. They know if your child is headed from prison to the pipeline off the rip. It's already known. I know a couple of teachers who teach elementary and a couple that teach middle school. They said that they know by the time your child's in the third grade, you go to prison or not. I said, third grade? Because they have behavioral programs and monitoring that they watch. And those records get passed from school to school, from elementary school to the middle school to the high school. And they study the behavior of your child. They're not able to, be in a space. They're not able to cope. They're not able to sit still. Their grades are slipped. They monitor the marks of your child the entire time. So now that we understand that the United States is the only country that has had anti-literacy laws. What I do want to do, okay, the chat put 222. You guys are right. Nat Turner was not the first rebellion. The first rebellion was in 1529, and it was a province called Guadalupe in Georgia, and about 100 Africans insurrected and tore the whole place up. So Nat Turner is not the first one. 1831, that's not the first one. Correct. All right. Now we set the stage for anti-literacy laws. So now we can suspect that the supposed Negro was not able to read or write. We also can probably draw a conclusion if we just understanding that every Negro in America couldn't read and write. It was just a miraculous wonder that Frederick Douglass had the newspaper. Who was buying Frederick Douglass' newspaper and reading it?
Damn, Gina.
Today, I'm going to set to prove to you. Somebody's calling. Today, I'm going to set out to prove to you that Negroes been reading and writing for a very long time. And this is a lie. This is a lie. Let's go ahead and get our pen and paper. Let's make a T-chart. For those of you on TikTok, I do T-charts because I teach pen to pad. You guys, please take notes. Make a T-chart. On the right side of your T-chart, you're going to put 1800s. I'm sorry, the left side of your T-chart, put 1800. On the right side of your T-chart, put 1900. So the left side, put 1800. Right side, put 1900. Now, everything I talk to you, hence going forward, is going to be in these time frames, 1800s and 1900s. All right, here we go. Give me a second. It said the anti-literacy laws was a series of laws enacted in the United States, primarily in the South, to prevent enslaved and sometimes free blacks from learning how to read. There's two types. So make another T-chart. Second T-chart. On the left-hand side of your T-chart, you're going to put the word free blacks. On the right-hand side, you're going to put enslaved blacks. Okay? So we got two T-charts now. Good job. These laws were in effect between 18th and the 19th century. That's the 1920 and 20. That's the 1700s and the 1800s, okay? And were designed to maintain the institutions of slavery by limiting opportunities for education and self-determination amongst the enslaved population. Some of the key aspects of anti-literacy laws: prohibition of prohibiting teaching. Many laws were made it illegal for anyone to teach enslaved people to read or write. Criminalization of literacy. In some cases, teaching enslaved people to read or write could result in fines, imprisonment, or even harsher punishment, depending on the state, the specific law. Justification. Slaveholders feared that the literacy would lead to rebellion, escape attempts, or challenge the social order. Geographical scope. While more prevalent in the South, some anti-literacy laws were also passed in the North. What was the impact? Anti-literacy laws significantly restricted the educational opportunities for Black people and contributed to the perpetuation of slavery. What states? South Carolina, North Carolina, Louisiana, Virginia, and Georgia, which are some of the biggest slaveholding states in North America. Those states were primarily focused on anti-literacy laws, the fact that Negroes should not learn to read and write. Now, I think we can gather at this point that Black folks are not supposed to be reading and writing, or enslaved people are not supposed to be reading and writing at this point in history. But at the same time, let's go to some of the pioneers of the American education system. Before I go there, good brother Crane, you want to add any value to this?
Yeah, I think in terms of literacy, we have to understand some very important aspects. Number one, when we're really honing in on literacy, it's not going to look like slavery. It looks like a business scam. And I say that in efforts to get the family to consider that America's a corporation and they operate with stocks and bonds. And it's not, this is an abbreviation. It's really live stocks and bondage. What are the stocks? You're the stock. You're the live stock. And the bonds is you're in bondage. But this is business. And the smart Negroes who realized it was business, they figured out they could buy their freedom. They weren't looking for emancipation and liberation. They said, we're just going to do business and buy our freedom. But you can't buy freedom if you don't know how to do the paperwork. So if we can keep you from learning how to do this paperwork, then that's going to ensure that we can keep the business going. So a part of their business was the scam. What's the scam, Crumb? Great question. The scam is keeping you illiterate.
Damn.
This is going to be a part of the and why is this important? Because remember, with the 13th Amendment. All right, guys, the gig is up. They realize it's a scam. We're not going to do it anymore unless they commit a crime.
It became conditional.
It became conditional. So now, what does this mean, Crumb? Great question. Here's your answer. By the time you get to fifth grade, your European counterpart knows approximately 10,000 more words than Man and Kiki.
Damn.
So now when they ask you, are you smarter than a fifth grader? Why is it you're smarter than a fifth grader? Because in fourth grade, if your reading levels are not up, the county is going to use those numbers to determine how many prison cells we're going to build in these prisons. Remember, the school to prison pipeline is real, and the prison system is broken. Donald Trump wants to get rid of the prison industrial complex, and instead of having these people rent out these prisons to be built like that, what they're going to do is get these people to build these prisons. He's going to do business with one country, and that's going to be not Venezuela. I don't know. Somebody listening audience, you tell me which one of these countries has a super jail, and they say Donald Trump is in love with it. I don't know what country it is that has super jails, but Donald Trump is in love with that country. And if you commit a crime, you're not going to regular jail here in America. Remember, California is so packed. If you do a crime in California, they send you to jail in Colorado because California don't got no space. Dang. Your ass is not going to jail in America no more. I think it's Venezuela. I might be wrong. Somebody tell me what country does Donald Trump want to send people to jail in? I forgot the name of that country. El Salvador. That's it. Damn. You break a crime, you go to El Salvador. Trump is not playing with any of you. So now in America, the old school to prison pipeline, Crumb, that's about to be old. Grow up. You break a crime, you go to El Salvador. Prior to the El Salvador thing, which Donald Trump is trying to create, how do they build these prisons? They build it off reading scores. Where'd you get that from? That's where the IQ was established. Back in the day, how did the man with the mustache, listen, family, I don't care anymore, but we on TikTok. The man with the mustache, how did he determine who the easy bake oven? Great question. He used IQ scores. Back in the day, if the IQ score wasn't high enough, we're going to put you in an easy bake.
To the Germans?
Yes. The Nazi regime were the ones who created the intellectual quotient test. If you weren't smart enough, they put you in that easy.
Family. Under your T-chart, 1800, right? Nazi Germany under the 1800 mark. Please continue. That's good stuff.
When they first implemented these things, and not the man with the mustache, it was based on if you're intelligent enough, and because they were looking for the super race. So people who didn't meet a certain IQ were considered feeble. They were considered feeble-minded. Amen, church. I digress. So yeah, in America, by the time you get to 5th grade, if you can't read a certain standard, they're gonna have they say there's a high probability that you go into jail. Now you be, oh, that's wrong. I don't want to go to El Salvador, Crumb. Well, under the current system, you operate with juicy magic. Crumb, what you talking about, juicy magic? Well, let's run it down. When you get arrested, what do the police tell you? They read me my Miranda. Well, here, I was in a Moorish Science Temple, and we talked about that all the time. Where did you learn this, Crumb? In the Moorish Science Temple? What did they tell you in the Moorish Science Temple? They said when you get arrested, the cop's going to tell you, you have the right to remain silent. That's the first sentence. Check. Second sentence. Anything. Anybody know how much anything is? Anything you say can and will be used against you. Remember, when Jesus got locked up, he shut his mouth. Y'all out here being fresh as hell when them feds watching. Back in the day, the OG wasn't on Snapchat, Instagram. Anyway, so now you get, they Mirandize you, but you got locked up like a goofy on Saturday night. And the judge ain't operating. This ain't night court. Remember night, well, you got to be a certain age. I'm telling my age. I don't know about night court. Anyway, so now you got to go to night court. Until Monday, when you go to real court, you gotta speak to a magistrate. This is like a junior judge, a baby judge, the magistrate.
But look at what the word is, magi.
Now, remember, they told you anything you say, the words, if you use the wrong words, we're gonna put a spell on you. So you go to the magistrate. This is a junior judge, and the magistrate is gonna do what? They're gonna throw the book at you.
Spell book.
Family, what is the most popular job of a juicy? Juicies are lawyers. Remember, Moses brought the law. Judea.
If only Jesus had a Jewish lawyer.
If only Jesus had a Jewish lawyer. Amen, church. But it was a team of Jewish lawyers going against him. Back then, they called them Kohanes. They had a RICO case on Jesus. Y'all better press, what number we on? Press 333 if they put a RICO case on Jesus. Stop playing with me. So anyway, the magistrate is going to throw the book at you. And if you get found guilty, you're going to get a sentence. You better learn how to read. I yield the floor.
No, but their sentence carried a lot of weight. Stand for the sentencing. If you was in these institutions at a young age acting up, they would make you write the same sentence 100 times.
Stop it. When you were in school, they gave you a sentence. Oh, man. If you were
and you have to write that sentence 100 times on the blackboard. And you didn't even know that's repetitive. That's what abracadabra is.
Abracadabra, juicy magic.
Anyway. You guys wrote down Nazi on your T-chart 1800. Let's read about this guy right here. How did America get its education system? How did America, and I used to teach college, by the way, but excuse me. How did America get its curriculum standards? Who gave it to him? Well, this guy right here. This is Horace Mann. Horace Mann. Horace Mann was a prominent American educator reformer. Often he was called the father of the American public school system. So under your 1800 teacher chart, you're going to write down Horace Mann. He significantly impacted the development of the public education in the United States and advocated for universal, free, and non-sanitary schooling. Common school movement, education reform, fighting for ignorance, anti-slavery advocate. He was the president of the Antioch College. Now, Antioch College was the first co-ed college. So that crap that they teaching you about black people trying to integrate with schools in Alabama, black people have been going to schools with white people. They've been going to school together. What is y'all talking about with this? And see, that's the part that pisses me off with so-called black scholars and readers. They tell the same shit over and over without realizing the shit already been done already. You're talking from a perspective as if all black people in America was in chains picking cotton, and you don't take a step back and see that there was two societies going on. They're telling you the story from the society who lost. They can do the same thing in 2025. If they came through Atlanta to do a historical documentary and show it 100 years from now, they can show the impoverty of Atlanta and pitch it as a show and only talk about that aspect. In 100 years, you would never knew about Atlanta being the black Mecca it was. Because it only showed you the vagabonds, the vagrants, the criminals, the people, and they get it straight. The only reason somebody's a criminal because they're trying to survive. That's the first law of nature, self-preservation, by any means necessary. Whether you think it's wrong or not, I don't give a fuck. I gotta eat, you know. So they show you all the criminalization of society, all the downtrodden people of that society, and then anytime you talk about the early ages of America, from the colonial period to the pre-colonial period with the Spaniards all the way down to 1960, you only have one vision in your mind of what Negroes were doing. The other day, talked about the 1920s. In the 20s, if you was a YT person, you had it rough. You had it bad if you was a YT person in 1920s. Okay? Let's just set the stage. We'll come back to Horace Mann in a second. What was the living condition of white people in America in the 1920s? There it is. In the 1920s, white Americans experienced a wide range of living conditions, from the immense prosperity for the wealthy to significantly struggle for the working class and all those in the rural areas. The decade known as the Roaring Twenties was characterized by economic growth and booming consumer culture, but also a stark inequality and social tension. The 1920s saw a significant economic expansion in the nation's wealth, more than doubling the gross national product, increasing by 40%. Something else happened in the 1920s also is going to counteract everything we're talking about with the equality, with the money, all that kind of shit. I'm sorry, the money, right? Income inequality. Despite overall economic growth, income inequality increased significantly, with the wealthiest American accumulating the diaspora sharing of the nation's wealth. Upper class and lower class. That's it. It wasn't no middle. Middle class was birthed in the 60s. I'm going to show you. Racial tension was happening in the 1920s. Changing gender roles in the 1920s. Women gained the right to vote for the first time and experience new opportunities in education. They can read now. Women can. And get educated now, and be employed now. Although traditionally, gender's role has persisted. There was a huge culture shift in the 1920s. Social backlash in the 1920s. In conclusion, the 1920s in America represent a complex picture of prosperity alongside inequality, social, sound like the 60s, don't it? Pay attention. Pay attention. 1920s, the equality and social change were for white people.
Right.
40 years after that, you took on that same narrative, and then they became the rich people. You became the poor people. 1920s, you were the rich people.
Teach.
Because the 1920s was still an agricultural society. That's back when the United States had a GDP, a gross domestic product they were shipping out of here. We import everything now.
Right.
Okay? This is back in the 20s where a couple things was happening. They were on the apex unknowingly of discovering things like the first motor vehicle. Cars about to come off the lot. Mr. Henry Ford about to have a conversation with George Washington Carver shortly. There's a young man by the name of Timothy Drew is in Newark, New Jersey, helping to rebuild and restructure the old Canaanite temple. He's there. There's a young man by the name of Marcus Mose Agave in New York at this time from Jamaica. Deuce Muhammad Ali, the teacher of both of those guys, is on his way on a boat to North America in the 1920s. The Harlem Renaissance, 1920s. We're talking about shortly after the mafia formalized or unionized themselves in New York and New Jersey and Chicago. These are the Italians. Social reform is happening with everybody. 1920s. Let's go back. We want to set the stage for the 1920s. Horace Mann. Let's talk about Horace Mann. He was the father of the American education system. He preceded John Quincy Adams, Massachusetts, Charlotte. He was a lawyer, educator, and a college president. Horace Mann was an American education reformer, slavery abolitionist, and a Whig politician. Who were the Whigs?
Come on.
Who was the Whig Party? Somebody talk back to me. Talk black to me. Who was the Whig Party?
Whigs were the predecessors of the Republicans, and the Whigs were the predecessor of the Democrats, and the Federalists were the predecessors of the Republicans. You might want to Google that. Were the Whigs and the Federalists the original Democrats or Republicans? Because the Democrats and Republicans, the first Republican was Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Before Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, I think he was a Whig. Don't get me. Somebody has to check me on that. Well, whatever he was before he was a Republican, that's what that was. But Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican.
Okay. This is Horace Mann. He is thus known as the father of American education. Now, you're going to write down Horace Mann. Those who are taking notes, please take notes. H-A-R-A-C-E, Horace Mann, M-A-N-N, Horace Mann. Beside that, you're going to put father of American education. Father of American education. Or just shorthand it and put father of American education. In 1848, after public service as Secretary of Massachusetts State Board of Education, Mann was elected to the United States House of Representatives. From September 52 to his death in 59, he served as the president of the Antioch College. And Antioch College, as I mentioned earlier, was a co-ed college. Both black folks and YT people went there. Antioch College is a private liberal arts college in Yellow Spring, Ohio, United States. It was founded in 1850. Now, under your T chart, go 1800s, put 1850, Antioch College underneath. 1850 Antioch College. Politician and education reformer Horace Mann was his first president of the college. The college is named after an ancient city of Antioch, where the disciples of Jesus was first named as Christians. The college has been politically liberal or reformist since the inception. It was the fourth college to admit African American students on an equal basis as whites.
Whoa.
This is not the 1960s Dr. King nothing.
Wow.
This is not the civil rights your mama and them was showing with the dogs biting people in the water hoses. This is not that one. This is 1848. 1850. Black folk and YT people were in the same school institution. What happened 110 years after that in the 60s, I have no idea why they showing y'all that. And not showing y'all like, no, we've been going to school with them. Like, let's talk about our schools now, because we had amazing institutions before we, The college has been politically liberal since the inception of African Americans. Antioch College began to open new campuses in 1964. It goes on and on, but that's the first college right there to accept Negroes on equal playing field. This is before Dr. King had a dream. This was probably his dream. He said this, but it had already happened already. When he said the white man and black people it already happened. It was happening in the 1850s. Arguing that the universal public education was the best way to provide a quality education for all American children, Mann won the widespread approval from modernizers, especially the Whig Party. He had political pull for building public schools. Most U.S. states adopted the version of the system Mann established in Massachusetts, especially the program for normal schools to train professional teachers. Educational historical credit Horace Mann, along with Henry Bernard, Catherine Beecher, as one of the major advocates for the common school movement. Those are the schools that we went to. Those are the schools that we went to. Okay, and the teachers would go to a other school called a normal school to be taught the curriculum on how to teach us.
Stop it.
Here's what's important. Check this out. Throughout his childhood, Mann experienced a variety of education experience from a vocational education. Vocational education. When I was in high school, you had two tracks when you became a freshman in high school based on your transcript, based on your literacy, your test taking ability, your comprehension, your math. All that stuff was antiquated to say, oh, you're going to be put on this track. Nothing wrong with the vocational track. Let's talk about the vocational track. The vocational track offered you opportunity to take classes like auto mechanics, plumbing. This is in high school, when I was in high school, back in 99, 98, 1900s, my kids say. Back in 1900s. So anyway, they had auto mechanics, wood shop, electrician, plumbing, HVAC. You could join the Future Farmers of America, this agriculture. And black men were coming out of high school in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It broke down in the middle of the 70s a little bit because crack cocaine would show up in a minute. It's coming. But a black man with a vocational education out of high school can support his family of 16 children than a black man with a master's degree working downtown Atlanta. So it was the vocational education that black folk sought to get first. That was the hands-on. Ruled agriculture. Let's finish reading this. Mann experienced a variety of educational experience from vocational education, working on the family farm, to religious education. Mann came to see the education as the essential component of a healthy childhood. From the age of 10, age of 20, he had no more than 6 weeks of schooling during any year. But he made use of Franklin Public Library, the first public library in America. He enrolled at Brown University. He was 20 years old and graduated in 3 years. It's Horace Mann, the father of American education. Take a look at us. Look at him. That's who gave you your public education right there. Horace Mann. But you guys just go ahead and just soak that in. Now, the reason that I like that they show the vocational education piece is because vocational colloquial schools were actually the first schools. These were the first schools that Negroes were allowed to go, or people of color. Let's say that people of color. This was the first school that people of color were able to go to, and this is pre-1900s. The anti-literacy laws are in full effect from the 1740s, but a new wave of anti-literacy laws is going to pop off after the Civil War that you've never seen the likes of before. They better not ain't catch you with a pen, a pencil on you. You understand me? There was a joke that Dave Chappelle had. Not Dave Chappelle. I forgot the comedian, but he was talking about how the times of slavery, and we perpetuate our own ignorance, but he's about the time of slavery, how it must have been for the guy who was driving the carriage through town, driving the horse in the carriage through town with massa on the back. He said it must have been a nerve-wracking experience to be knowing you're about to approach a stop sign. Oh, man. And if you stop, you know you can freaking read. So he said the slave was such in disarray, like I don't know what to do. Should I stop? If I stop, he know I can read the word stop. If I got to figure it out because we're approaching. And the slave master said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" You know, N word, whoa, whoa, whoa. He kept going, and he crashed. And the slave master was pissed. He said, "Didn't you see that stop sign back there?" And the slave said, "What, you mean that octagon thing? Who taught you octagon, nigga?"
Oh my God.
You mean that octagon thing? How you know octagon? It's a joke. But the point of the matter is the literacy rate that they perpetuated. Antioch College, Ohio was the pioneer to admit black students, doing so on an equal basis in 1852. And also one of the first to integrate its student body decades before the civil rights movement. The college actively worked to increase black student enrollment throughout initiatives like the Antioch program for interracial education. You've been in the school with these folk. Decades before, they just said decades before the civil rights movement. We'll talk about civil rights movement some other time. Maybe Saturday night. If you come in Saturday night, remind me to talk about civil rights. Please. Remind me, okay? Let's move on. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If you thought news was fake, wait till you get if you thought fake news was bad, wait till you get a load of fake history. Juneteenth destroying a big black lie.
Oh man, I'm going in Saturday, y'all. I'm going in. I'm talking about, ooh. If you're a believer, don't show up. No holds bars. All right, let's move on. So we've been integrated. You have to ask people like, what are we talking about? 1960 civil rights education. This is a picture from what we call Hampton University, right? It's also known as the Indian Institute. And this is in the 1800s. I thought Negroes couldn't read. I thought the anti-literacy laws say if the Negroes couldn't read or write. No, you were in college already. Before there were anything else going on, you were the educators. Been in college. It says an HBCU is an accredited college or university established prior to 1964 with the principal mission of educating African American. The term HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities and was created in the Higher Education Act of 1965 with expanded federal funding or college and universities. Let's keep an eye on that federal funding part. The Higher Education Act of 1965 expanded the federal funding for colleges and university If the 1965 Act expanded the budget, what act established the original budget for these HBCU colleges? Because these HBCU colleges technically are land grant colleges. The majority begin with a small number of buildings offering specialization and training in religious, education, agriculture, and industrial arts. That's why you hear the word A&M, agriculture and mechanics. Period. Today, they boast full range of academic programs, while campus sizes, student enrollment, and academic rigors of these institutions greatly vary. I'm not too far from what they call, if you guys don't know, I'm here in Atlanta, but I'm not too far from a location that is known as the AU Center. The AU Center. Any of my collegiate family out there, if you know what the AU Center is in Atlanta, they call it the AU Yard. If you know what the AU is, or what I'm referring to when I say the AU, tap all the way in right now in the comments. If you know what what institutions are on the AU campus? Now, I probably don't say it too much, so I don't give it away now, but what institutions are on the AU campus here in Atlanta? And they ain't talking about no Georgia Tech either. Don't y'all dare say Georgia Tech or University of Georgia. Neither one of those. We're talking about HBCUs. Now, while you guys figure that out, another institution that's famous in Georgia for agriculture and mechanics is Fort Valley. Fort Valley is an amazing institution. Savannah State, amazing institution. I asked a question earlier, what set the initial budget for these HBCUs to even get founded in the first place? This is called the Morrill Act, Morrill, the Morrill Act. Officially titled an act donating public lands to several states and territories which may provide college or benefits of agriculture and mechanic arts, A&M. That means all the institutions in America outside of the ones that were already established, like the Stanfords and the, places like that. Caltech came later, but particular dominant institutions for Negroes and Indians had already taken off. We're going to talk about one here in a second by the name of Hampton University, which was the first one of the first ones. And a famous individual by the name of Booker T. Washington, who walked to Hampton University from down south to attend school and came back and became the first president of Tuskegee, another HBCU. So let's deal with it. It says it's a landmark piece of U.S. legislation passed in 1862. So under your 1800 T-chart, write 1862, Morrill Act. What did it do? It provided land to states to establish college focus on agriculture and mechanic arts, significantly expanding access to higher education. A second Morrill Act in 1890 addressed the racial inequality by requiring states to either demonstrate that the race was not barred to administration existing land grant colleges for African Americans. So now you're going to start getting your 1890s land grant money to pop up these other institutions. Let's take a look at one real quick, and we'll go backwards from here. What year was Howard University established?
According to Howard University, founded in 1867, Howard University is a private research university comprised of 14 schools and colleges.
So on your T-chart, write 1867 Howard University, or put HU. Watch this. What year was the Hampton Institute established?
According to Virginia Museum of History and Culture, Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute was founded in 1868 by General Samuel Armstrong. He was interested in moral training and a practical industrial education for Southern blacks.
Hampton U. Hampton Normal Agriculture Institute was founded in 1868 by General Armstrong. Now, General Howard is going to open up Howard University here in a second. I'm sorry, I already have. He was interested in moral training, industrials for black folks, they say. Howard, the first HU, considered by margin. So within months apart, years apart, Howard University and Hampton University. That's why I made the comment earlier. You say HU, it's like we're the real HU, right? Watch this. Hampton Institute for Indians. I'm sorry. Hampton Agriculture Institutes for Indians. Hampton Agriculture Institute for Indians refers to the inclusion of Native American students at Hampton Normal and Agriculture Institute, later Hampton University in 1878, which was originally established to educate former enslaved blacks. The program aimed to Americanize, or what they call assimilate, the students through education in trades, Christianity, and English, while also having them maintain some of their culture and heritage. Founding and proposal: Hampton Normal Agriculture Institute, founded in 1868 by General Sam C. Armstrong, with the primary goal of educating newly freed black people in agriculture and industrial skills.
Teach.
Now, we can't let all these what's his name? Booker T. Washington's just go free like this. I'm sorry, George Washington Carver. There's too many George Washington Carvers in America. We're in 1868, family. We have not hit the 1900s yet. We're about to hit them in a second. But remember, I was just telling you about the 1920s, which is about 30, 45 years from 1868. Not that far away. People who lived in 68 was alive in 1920. Still thriving. Still there. A little older, but they were there. They saw no cars to a couple cars. They saw no flights to niggas flying. Like they saw it all. All right? Amazing. So Native American enrollment. In 1878, the institution began admitting Native American students, expanding its mission to include Americanizing and education of indigenous youth. Watch this. How did Germany play a role in early American education? German immigrants significantly influenced early American education by introducing concepts like kindergarten, emphasizing physical and vocational training, and shaped and structured their higher education. German education and reformers also played a crucial role in establishing private schools and advocating for education reform across levels. Who was the father of the American education system? Who's the father of the American education system? I just told you earlier. Just for snicks and giggles, let's find out. Was Horace Mann German? It says no. He was an American educator. While his family name has German origins. Stop playing with me.
I'm right.
Stop freaking plant. Skynet is playing. You know what?
That's why I don't like
you know
Skynet.
What?
Skynet ain't got snarky.
He's not German, but his family is.
Ain't that something?
I'm done.
Oh man.
I yield for it. Anything you want to add, man? I'm done, Skynet, man.
You really blew my mind with the thing about going further and further and further back. And we're seeing where the Martin Luther King integration thing is just an outright lie. It's a lie, family. They've told us half the story. If you thought fake news was bad, wait till you get a load of fake history. It's a lie, family.
Wow.
So yeah, I can't say that I'm too surprised. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I am surprised, but I can't say that I'm too surprised. But yeah, no, Minister, that was definitely thorough. I'm looking at the minister's T chart though, and I will say this: it looks like everything is on the 1800s side. So I'm looking at the T chart. It says 1800s, and it's hard to read his notes. I'm not sure what it says, but all of this stuff, I don't see anything on the 1900 side. 1867, 1868, nothing in the 1900s.
Nope. But we're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Okay.
So remember we said general right there. General Howard. Let's talk about General Howard real quick. So we got the Antioch College, 1852, first integrated institution of learning for both black folks and white people on an equal playing field. Good books, everything. This is before 1960, anything, dealing with anything, marching in Alabama, Selma, and that's, come on, y'all. That stuff is not what you think it is, family. Who did I say? General Howard Orphan Asylum. This is called the Orphan Asylum. It was called the Colored Orphan Asylum. It was an orphanage. What is an orphanage, Carl? What's the purpose of an orphanage?
Orphanages for children that got no parents?
They are parentless children, right. Orphans, or ward. They're wards of the state. Right. It was one of the first institutions for black children ran by African Americans and was founded with the support of General Howard for local black churches. So before there was a Howard University, the same guy who established Howard University, because Howard University was established in 1867. This is prior to that. This is prior to 67. This is 66. So now everybody who went to Howard University, Howard University, y'all was not the first one. Your owner had another institution before they made y'all school. That was the first Howard University, or AKA AKA the Colored Orphan Asylum. That sounds creepy. The word asylum freaks me out every time I say it. Asylum. Yeah, it's like a asylum. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, the orphanage originally named the Brooklyn Howard. That's a long title. Brooklyn Howard Colored Orphan Asylum was founded in 1866 in Weeksville, Brooklyn. Now I already broke down who Mr. Weeksville was. Mr. Weeksville bought the land from another black man. Today they call it Brooklyn. The whole Brooklyn, Crown Heights, Bedford-Stuyvesant, all belong to a black man by the name of James Weeks. In the 1850s, we haven't got to Tulsa. That's in 1920s. We haven't got to that yet. We ain't got to that yet.
We haven't even got to the end of slavery yet.
No. Civil War just popped off in 65. It's 66. While the South is feuding, Atlanta is still smoldering. Negroes are already in institutions already, learning. Antioch College, 1850. That's way before Civil War. It wasn't a Civil War at that time. Nobody cared about none of that stuff at that time. Okay, so this is General Howard. It was ran by black folks. In 1911, the orphanage relocated to Kings Park, Long Island, and was renamed Howard Orphanage and Industrial School. The Brooklyn facility closed in 1918 due to financial difficulties and damage in severe winters. Now, I have a question, but the thing with looking up shit on the internet, you have to be specific with your question, right? Because everything is AI operated now. They pull information from all kinds of sources. And that's the only reason I use this, to assimilate the information. But again, I'm not here to convince or persuade you guys. This is just information. Please Go and do your own research. I implore you to go do your own research. This is only my portion of understanding, which is suitable unto me. You can't take what I'm teaching you and try to run it up against me. Like, this is what I think. All right? Anyway, you can see that these beautiful children are learning trades, how to sew, how to knit, how to cook, how to iron, how to make shoes. Shit that our little privileged kids need to be doing right now with the brink of World War III happening. Ain't no more Foot Locker in Amazon. Look at the babies in the picture. They are making shoes. They are making shoes. This is a shoe shop class right here. Look at them making shoes. Crazy work. This was the orphanage. This was before Howard University was even open. Let me show you what they did with these kids, though. How they did them, rather. Did the children from the Howard Orphan Asylum go to college? While the Howard Colored Orphan Asylum primarily focused on practical skills and placing children with their families, some children did pursue higher education. The institution initially emphasized industrial training, but later shifted to supporting students in various educational paths, including those leading to college. Some children were encouraged to attend high school, and funds were even used for the education of needy Black students in the area. After leaving the institution, orphan asylum, they replaced these children they're still kids, they're under the age of 21. They placed them into HBCUs. Preferably, they put them in Hampton University. Let me pull it up and show you. I don't want y'all saying I said nothing. You said, all right, here we go right here. All right. It says in the 1890s, I'm starting right here. In the 1890s, the institution, make sure you guys are tracking. There we go. Cooking with grease now. In the 1890s, the institution moved away from indentured servitude. They had children's rented out like Rent-A-Center. The Howard Institution, tell your Howard University Boulay people this information. Howard University, formerly, Hampton Institute, Howard University. General Howard had an institution called the Black Orphanage Asylum in Weeksville, New York. If you know the significance of Weeksville, New York was established by a man by the name of James Weeks, a brother, bought the whole entire territory. What territory are you talking about? The territory that's now today known as Brooklyn. All of that belonged to Mr. James Weeks, and this is what the institution was first founded by a Union general by the name of Howard. Now, let's read on. In the 1890s, the institution moved away from indentured servitude to train students in industrial education. Remember A&M, right? A&M, agriculture and mechanics. To prepare them for practical world of labor, business and agriculture, but which would limit formal studies. This led to the Hampton Institute recommending that 4/5 of the students should be engaged in institutional training, and Booker T. Washington was tapped to secure funding. Leading philanthropist, an annex was first built in 1899. The campaign was organized by Rufus L. Perry, and to build a school adjacent lot with funds secured to state. In 1902, here we go. It was discovered that Johnson greatly mismanaged the orphanage funds, which spurred investigation by New York capitals and grand jury. Damn. Johnson left the institution following investigation in 1902, and the board of directors reorganized itself to include more white males rather than African American women. The demographics reorganized was done and suggested the New York Capitol in order to obtain more white donors. Reverend Powhatan E. Bagnell was elected as superintendent of the board and replaced Johnson. In 1906, Otibanga, a Congolese pygmy, was on an exhibit. This was sad right here. You got to read more about Otibanga. They had this young man on display in the exhibit with the monkeys in the Bronx Zoo. Could anybody tell me why you think they did that? 1906. So it's established in 1906. That's what happened. Brother, do you know why they put him in it on display?
At the zoo?
Yeah, Otibanga. Do you know why they put him on display?
They put him in a monkey house saying he was a monkey or something?
That's what they did, but do you know why they did that?
I forgot.
So let's go back. 1906. Write down 1906 somewhere on your paper.
Oh, here.
Sorry. 1906. I had nothing.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, there you go. 1906. On my paper right here.
Hey, family, he really got a pen and paper. He's really like writing stuff down, family. It's not a game.
1906. Excuse me. The long story short, they end up allowing Otibanga to come stay at the Howard Colored Orphan, where he was given a room and treated as a visitor. He ended up unaliving himself shortly after. Just, that wasn't right. His mental breakdown. But the reason this happened in the 1920s is due to people like, I know you guys are tired of hearing it. I don't care. You guys got to get used to hearing it because it's going to be important later. They were trying to exhibit Darwin's theory.
Right.
Let me walk y'all through this. Darwin theory. This is a theory, Charles Darwin. Darwin theory, also known as the evolution by natural selection, is more a longer title, the real title. Purposes that species change over time through a process where the advantage trait become the more common in population due to their survival and reproduction benefits. Too many Mexicans, too many black people, too many Hebrews. Get them out of here.
Not Hebrews. God dang, Gina.
This theory is the cornerstone of modern biology. This is called pseudoscience.
Teach.
Just like in the religious aspect, that's called pseudepigrapha.
Damn.
I'm throwing out words today.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
Catch him. So the basic thing that it was saying was natural selection. We're all familiar with the whole situation with the upright walking monkey. This is the picture that's been perpetuated as Darwin's theory. And on this chart, I always ask people, this chart always show YT people. It'll never show
nobody with an afro or nothing.
No. They show YT people. And we can trace their origin back through the Cro-Magnon, back through what's called the Paleolithic era.
Correct.
Out of that area, going forward into what's called the Pecan and the Java, or the Javan man.
Come on.
Which is Northern Asians. Or Northern Asia. The Siberian territory. Or what they call it's called a realm. Sweden, they still call the area realms to this day. It's mind-blowing. They would do that. But anyway, this is Darwin's theory. Along with Darwin's theory, who was the cousin of Charles Darwin? Francis Galting, the cousin of Charles Darwin. See, you guys might not get this anywhere else. I'm giving you names, dates, timelines, locations. I'm teaching you through it, not talking you through it. A wise man once said, I cannot tell you what to see.
Amen.
I can only tell you what to look. Francis Galton was the half cousin of Charles Darwin. They shared the same grandfather, Erasmus Darwin, a successful physician and polymath. Galton was profoundly influenced by Darwin's theory of evolution, specifically his book, The Origin of Species. This inspiration led Galton to investigate human variety, hereditary, and implications, ultimately leading to him the established field of eugenics. So y'all know where we're going with this. We have Charles Darwin, we have Francis Galton. Francis Galton was inspired by the works of Charles Darwin.
Come on.
Just like Hitler was inspired by somebody else's body of work we'll get into here in a second. But this whole thing is going to now switch to what's known as genetics or eugenics. We're still dealing with education, but I'm trying to show you why they thought that the so-called Negro was so docile and feeble-minded and lazy and late all the time. Can't hold a job. Don't pay child support. Don't spend time with his kids. All those connotations. Now they're going to start quantifying these connotations into a field. One field is known as biology, physiology. These are disciplines that I'm going to show you the individuals who birth these ideologies. Taxonomy. This is the origin of species.
Right.
The origin of species. Why would that be important? Who was Carl Linnaeus? This is Carl Linnaeus. Swedish. Hitler's going to Sweden, isn't he?
Yeah, Sweden. Just like a swastika. Swastika.
This is Carl Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus, 1761. You gotta write that down. So this is irrelevant right here, but just giving you who he is. He is the father of taxonomy. I want you to write Carl Linnaeus, father of taxonomy. Now I gave you the father of the American education system. I'm giving you the father of taxonomy. I'm going to give you the father of African American studies in a second that was put inside these HBCUs by the father of education. So now you're wondering why we all upside down and turned and don't know who what. We don't know anything about the ancient kingdoms of Ethiopia and Nubia because we're too far stuck off slave ships of Virginia. And it's perpetual. They taught us one time and we just repeat it. Carl Linnaeus, father of taxonomy. The reason taxonomy is important, taxonomy is the classification or taxi of organisms. That's why you get things like amphibians and so on and so forth. Reptilians.
Right.
It's the classification. Mammals. And it's important because if you look at a mammal, you would think mammals have 4 legs and walked on land until you run into a whale.
Uh-oh.
A whale don't lay eggs and they have to breathe. Whales are mammals. Whales used to walk on land. The only other animal that can hold its breath longer, as long as a whale, is a hippopotamus, which whales and hippos are synonymous. This is the power of taxonomy. So Carl Linnaeus is the father of modern taxonomy. That's all I'll take away from that. Let me give you one more. Who was Samuel Morton? This is Samuel Morton. He was also in the field. He was an American physician, natural scientist, a writer, and one of the key figures in scientific racism. He argued against what is this? Monogeism. Monogeism, or something monogynous, is the theory of human origin, which poses a common descent for all humans. The negation of monogenism. Okay, monogenism. Monogenism is polygenism. This issue was hotly debated in the Western world in the 19th century. Wow. He argued mono. He was for one. He argued against the Bible creation story, basically, instead supporting the polygeno theory. multiple racial groups. He was a prophetic writer of books in various subjects. 1823 to 1851, he wrote Geological Observation 1820 and both synopsis of organic remains of Cretaceous groups in the United States. So he was a writer. You get the point.
Right.
From Philly. I was just in Philly, man. Philly is I'm gonna post a video about Philly here in a second. It was a lot.
Beautiful.
It was both Greece and Rome at the same time. The building structure, yeah. It was definitely Greco-Roman architect and everything. It's pretty mind-blowing. Being that Philadelphia is the goddess of love. It's named after Philadelphia's. That's pretty cool. So he was a proponent for scientific racism. Because it sets up what's going to go into these education systems. Remember, Indian institution was for assimilation.
Correct.
The first historical Indian institutions were for assimilation. Just put it together. You know what? I'm gonna stop using fucking Google.
Uh-oh.
I'm just gonna stop using Google. I feel like Google is turning against us now.
Bro, I told you, 2025, they activated Skynet.
I think they did too.
Yeah.
Because now they're saying it was not. Hold on. Thank you. Yes, the early Native American boarding schools were primarily founded with the explicit goal of assimilation indigenous children into American culture, as defined by European Americans. Now you're going to start seeing, watch this, white family billboard signs from the 50s. You're going to start seeing the social change throughout America. They're showing you what America should look like. This is why you saw mostly YT people on billboards, if not all the time. With the happy families, they're moving out in certain rural areas, making it a neighborhood. They're showing, it says the world's highest standard of living. It has a billboard full of YT people in a car, a family. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because all they saw were your families. The love for your families, 15, 16 children, 12 children. Even though using the worst conditions, Black people had more sense of community and family, the nuclear family, the father, the mother, and the children. Regardless what the brother had, 6 figures or not, $6 or not.
Come on.
She understood that what we symbolize, what we represent, the power structure of the Black family has always put fear into white people. Do you want to know why? It reminds them of the kingdoms you used to run, the empires.
Oh my God!
Anytime they walked into the throne, they always saw the woman, the man, and the children at the throne.
Amen.
He had to understand everything up here is royal. And that's all they saw. For hundreds of years, everywhere they went, to step foot on land, they saw it. And typically, the king would be the bigger, muscular fella they show you in depictions. And they thought there was representation of power. They didn't know that the queen made the calls.
Come on. You already know.
Because in most cases, most kings were generals. They had to go off to fight. Leonidas in 300. Who gonna run the camp while he gone? Damn. The woman. They had to know how to fight, defend themselves. They were rough too.
Right.
Anyway, these first colleges were first established for assimilation. It was set up to eliminate traditional ways. The schools aim to eradicate traditional Native American ways of life and replace them with mainstream American culture. From 1819 to 1969, the U.S. government established and supported Indian boarding schools to assimilate indigenous children, separation, and stripping them of culture. Children were removed from their families and communities, forbade to speak their native language, wear any traditional clothing, practice their religions or belief, engage in other cultures or practices. They took your name from you. They took your culture. They gave you their name. You screamed after the gods of Europe you know nothing about. This is you. They were forced an Americanization. They were taught English, expected to adapt to Christianity, and instruct that their own cultures were inferior. This is what the American education system has done. Since Horace Mann brought it over here, this is what it was designed for. This was not to design for you to take your black ass in here and get educated. You're not getting educated. Kill the Indian, save the man. This phrase was encapsulated in destructive intent of assimilation, emphasizing the goal of eliminating indigenous identity. Cut their hair and force new names on them. Prohibiting native language, replacing religious practices, ridiculing humiliation, military-style discipline. This was the point of the earlier school for colored folks. These were the conditions. These were the terms for our folks. Hey, bro, I appreciate it. Listen, I'm gonna put my Cash App across the bottom. Appreciate y'all donating to the platform, but it ain't coming to me. We need everybody to donate. Matter of fact, we need everybody to donate. We got bills to pay. We're gonna pass the collection plate around, amen. If we could do a $5 challenge, amen, give what's on your heart. But if you want to give a little bit more, amen, we're not mad at you. We are not mad at you, amen. Amen. Are there any questions from the audience? Any questions? I'm about to wrap this up. We got stuff to do tonight, but we on this Go Live marathon. Right. It was a brainwashing program, right? A simulation, and that's what they did. And that's why we don't know much about our stuff. They outlawed it. You couldn't even speak your native language. Even if your grandma told you you had Indian in your family, and they picked it how you talk. It's Geechee. Y'all talk so country. Why don't you talk proper? You sound white. All that shit, bro. Literally, you were taught that. They based the literacy rate. They based the fact that you're going to live or die. What was called? What was it called?
Intellectual quotient.
No, yeah, that, but it was called freak. I had a brain fart. It's called it'll come to me in a second. But they wanted to measure and antiquate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Pass the plate. Thank you. $10. Wow, thank you. That's amazing. We got 5. Okay, we have 15. Wow, thank y'all. So we still got bills. Because y'all know this StreamYard shit ain't free, y'all.
Right.
This StreamYard shit is not free. Yeah, we behind on rent right now. Y'all don't even know it. But get our lights cut off in a minute. We still on here blasting information to y'all, man.
That's right.
That's love. You feel me? Anywho, we appreciate y'all, man, for tapping in. I think we're gonna take a short break. We might hop on TikTok here in a second. We gotta get some vittles in my stomach first, and then we gotta head out a little bit. But yeah, definitely tap in. What was the question? The guy who you said coined the term racism. The guy who I said coined the term racism. I don't know about coining the term racism. You might be talking about Frederick Blumenbacher. didn't coin the term racism. He was the first person to create the races. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is not what you're asking, bro. Johann Friedrich Blumenbacher came up with the categories that later became. He is the founder of racial classification. If that's what you're asking, he is the founder, the father. I'm giving you another father. These are the founding fathers. I give you another. The founding father of gynecology. You want to talk about him? J. Marion Sims. I give you all the founding fathers. Oh, I didn't give you all the founding father of African studies. Who is Melville Herkovich? Who is Melville Herkovich? This guy is who is Melville Herkovich? There you go. He's particularly known for the working culture continues between African culture and African American community. He significant contribution. He is the father of the African diaspora. This guy right here. Wait, what picture at? Oh. Anyway, he born to a Jewish immigrants. 1895. Herkovich attended local public school. He served the United States Army Medical Corps and the First World War. Here's his teacher, Franz Boas, also the father of American anthropology. These are anthropologists or archaeologists or these pseudoscientists fields of study. And he is basically the father of African American culture studies. So the African American studies that goes into these HBCUs are primarily taught by white professors. Did you guys know that? Let's take a look. I just want to see for myself. It may not give. Let's just try it. Who is the history professor at Norfolk State University? Let's see what happens. Looks like it's a sister now. Oh, I know. Who are the past professors of African American Studies at Norfolk State University? It's African American Studies, not Black. African American Studies. The Joseph Jenkins Roberts Center for the Study of the African Diaspora. That's the point I want to pull up right there. They're basically studying the information that was put out by Melville Herkovich. Y'all get the point. What was the Moors doing while we were being brainwashed? Shit, the Moors, they were helping. What's the Cash App ID? It's at the bottom of the screen, scrolling right there, bro. It's Chef J Ponder. The Cash App is Chef J Ponder. Is right there at the bottom of the screen. The Zelle, everything is scrolling on the marquee down there. What were the Moors doing while we were being brainwashed? Man, the Moors were a part of it. What are y'all talking about? They were a part of it. Because the Moors, you know what the Moors are doing? The Moors is in Mexico brainwashing them. Mexico is Moorish history. Watch this. The connection between Mexico and Moorish history. The connection between that says Moorish. Moorish. The connection between Mexico and Moorish history primarily stems from the lasting influence of the Moors on Spanish culture, which was then carried to Mexico during Spanish colonization. They were brainwashing people already. They were doing the same thing already. Somebody said, which Moors? Great question. You guys pay attention. I freaking love it. Which Moors? We're talking about the Sephardic Moor. The Sephardic Moors out of Spain. The Sephardic Moors. Did Moors come to the American colonies in the early 1500s? It keeps saying Moor. It is believed there were Moors expelled from Spain who made their way to the Caribbean, possibly the Gulf of Mexico. When Columbus made his journey to the United States, it is said that he took with him a book written by Portuguese Muslims who had navigated their way to the New World in the 12th century. That's the 1300s. So the Moors been coming over here. That's my point. That's all. I don't want to get into all that, but they weren't doing shit. You read a book called Aztec Moors and Christians by Max Harris. That's like a good book. You got AAL way. When you finish the book, you got to come up on the platform and put us up on game about that one.
Yeah, book review.
We would love to do a book review, bro, on this. That'd be amazing, actually. So
take notes while you read it.
Anyway, family, get up out of here, man. Peace and love, peace and light. Hey, man, stay woke. Appreciate y'all and y'all time today. Peace out.